you're looking to dive into topics on how to live a happier, healthier, more fit, and long lifespan, then you've come to the right podcast. Livin the Dream with me, Coach Damian Evans. Together, we will explore the topics on all things health, fitness, and wellness. Together, we will be lifelong learners on this journey to living the ultimate dream. What up, Dream Team? Coach D here, coming at you from beautiful sunny San Diego, and welcome back to the Livin the Dream podcast, where we kickstart your week off right with the right mindset to conquer your goals and live your own dream life. Today, we're going to be diving deep into the realm of discipline. Discipline is the backbone of success. Discipline is the driving force behind achievement. Discipline is the key to unlocking your full potential. Imagine one of your big, audacious goals in life. Imagine that goal as a ladder that you're climbing. Now, you could have some ladders that have large gaps in between each step, making it harder to ascend, 6 or 7 feet between each of those steps. You could also have another smaller ladder that has more manageable gaps, ones that are like 1 to 2 feet apart. When you're climbing your ladder, your goal, what ladder do you prefer? And experts seem to pretty much all agree that the small, consistent steps over time lead to big changes. So if you're struggling with your discipline, it's important that first you define a clear goal. Without a clear goal, it's like navigating in the dark. You need this flashlight beacon of light to guide your path. So let's light that beacon. Take a moment to visualize what you truly desire. Literally see every aspect of that goal and what it takes to get there. Whether it's achieving a fitness milestone, or maybe it's advancing in your career. Maybe it's mastering a new skill. Whatever it is, it's important that you write this goal down. Define a clear goal. The act of writing this goal, it solidifies your commitment and it brings your goal one step closer to reality. Once you define a clear goal, you need to establish a clear plan on how you're going to attack and navigate to get to that goal. Now that you have your destination in mind, you can see what that destination looks like, what it feels like, what it would be like to have your life be that. Now that you have your destination in mind, it's time to chart out a course in order to get there. So break down your huge goal into bite-sized chunks. Maybe they're monthly chunks. Maybe they're weekly chunks. I really love thinking about what do I need to do on a day-to-day basis in order to get me to my end goal. And when you break down this big goal into these smaller chunks, you can think of these as the rungs of the ladder. Each step is going to bring you closer to the top. Create a roadmap outlining the actions that you need to take to reach each milestone. And remember, small steps lead to big changes. You could also look at what are the things that are taking you away from your goals. What are the things that are hindering your progress to get to that final destination? Once you get a clear picture of what you need to do and what things you're doing that are taking you away from your goal, every day that you make an action, every single choice that you make in a day is you casting a vote for the person that you want to be. As long as at the end of the day, you've casted more votes for that person that is going to be doing the goal that you want to have, as long as you have more votes casted towards that person, you will, over time, with consistency, become that person. So establish a clear plan. Remember, small steps lead to big changes. And then it's super important that you strengthen your self-confidence. Confidence is the fuel that propels you forward. Without it, even the best laid plan will probably falter. So let's stoke the flames of self-assurance. Remind yourself of your past successes. What were things that you've done in the past that you have been super successful with? How did you get there? What were the things that you did that made you successful in that thing? Well, you know you've done it in one category. What's going to stop you from doing it in the other category? Reflect on the obstacles that you've overcome. What have been the challenges that you've seen? You know yourself better than anyone else. Reflect on those obstacles. You are capable of greatness. All you have to do is believe in yourself and the world will follow. You can create your own reality with small, little, tiny actions over time. Strengthen your self-confidence. If you can believe in yourself, if you can show yourself what you're capable of, if you can prove to yourself that you can follow through with things that you said you're going to do, it's so huge. And just believing in yourself is not going to make it happen, right? We can't just say, oh, I believe in myself, I'm going to make it happen. Even though every single action that I've taken up until then proves that I can't follow through with what I've done or what I've said I was going to do. That's why I love cold plunges. I love jumping in the ocean because every inch of my fiber in my being says that I do not want to do this. I don't want to get in there. My body doesn't want to. My mind doesn't want to. And then 5 minutes later, after I'm in there, I feel amazing. I showed myself that even though I did not want to, I can do hard things and I can prove to myself that I did it and I'm going to follow through. And the more you do this, the more self-confidence that you're going to build. But it goes in the other direction too. Stop making goals that are too big that you fall short on because that's breaking your self-confidence. That is proving to yourself that you just can't measure up to all these big, audacious, hairy goals. You have to make sure that it is attainable, and then you have to make sure that it is a little uncomfortable. It works both ways. It can't be super simple, and it can't be super easy and know what Professor Huberman calls limbic friction. You want to have a little bit of limbic friction where there's something inside you that is like, I really don't want to do this. And you do it anyway. The more you can do that, the more you strengthen your self-confidence. And then it's all about building habits. Habits are literally the building blocks of success. Protein, the building blocks of muscle and soft tissue. Habits, the building blocks of success. They provide structure. They provide consistency and they provide momentum. Habits build on each other. I am obsessed with trying to figure out how to stack habit upon habit. Once I've got something established that I can do on the regular, that it's become a habit to a point where it's automatic, then I can start stacking other things on top of it. Okay, well, I have this, and this established. Now I just am going to add this next thing. And it's super easy because I already have my system built in place. Habits are the building blocks and systems are the framework. By cultivating positive habits, you create this framework of success, whether it's a morning routine, whether it's your workout regimen and however you get that done, or maybe it's a nightly routine, a nighttime reflection, a nighttime wind down routine that helps get you ready for sleep. Once you establish these habits that align with your goals, everything else starts to fall in place. You provide structure, consistency, and you build on momentum. Then you need to evaluate your time. Time is your most precious and finite resource. How you spend your time determines your success. So let's take inventory here. How are you investing your time each day? What gets tracked, what gets measured, gets managed. And once you can kind of have a big picture view of exactly how you're allocating and investing your time each day, maybe you can start to make little tweaks here and there, small tweaks that can help shift you into becoming a more productive person, or maybe you can cut out things that aren't productive towards your end goal and start adding in things that will get you towards your goal. Are you maximizing your productivity, or are you squandering it on distractions? Open up your phone right now and check your screen time. How much time do you spend on your screens? Take an inventory of how much TV you watch and how much time you spend in front of a TV doing nothing. Take an inventory on time where you may be switching tasks back and forth, where you could actually put a little bit more dedicated time. Maybe you could block your time and create this deep work where you're getting a bunch of the same thing done and you're really just grinding away at this in this 1 hour of deep work instead of doing 10 minutes on this project and then moving over to 10 minutes on this project, checking your emails, getting back to people that have asked you to do things. Like, all those times where you're switching back and forth between tasks, your mind is having a hard time. It's like having a bunch of browsers open on your computer. You're switching back and forth instead of just spending a nice block of concentrated work on one thing. Plan your day with intention. Allocate time for your priorities and guard it fiercely. Remember, every minute counts. For me, this is my strategy. I love to, the night before I have a bunch of stuff to do the next day, I like to make a list of all the things that I need to get done. I put a whole task list and I just start writing out everything. It does not have to be in order. I have to coach. I have to personal train. I have to write a podcast. I have to post on social media. I have to get some sunshine. I have to get my workout in. I have to go to this appointment. All of these things are listed on the left side of the paper. On the right side of the paper, I make a timeline of my next day. 6 a.m. all the way until 11 p.m. And I make sure that I start to slide these tasks into blocks on the right side of the paper. So I have from 11 to 12, there's my workout. From 3 to 8 p.m., that's my coaching block. And I'm just sliding these things in. And then I can see how many things on my task list that are able to transfer. I can see how much time I have in my day and where my free time is at, or where my really busy, challenging times are going to be at. And I can get this picture of what it looks like. Evaluate your time. It's so precious. And we spend so much time just in that middle ground, not really sure what we should be doing, switching between tasks. I like to make it so that I can get things done on the way. So if I have errands to run, I have things that I can do next to the studio. Well, then I'll drive to the studio, I'll coach, and on my way home, I'll get this errand done, and then maybe I'll drop this thing off for this other person. And it's just like I can make sure that all that time is not wasted instead of going to work, coming back home. Going to my errands, going back home, and then going to drop this thing off and coming back home. It just doesn't make sense. So evaluate your time. Take 5 to 10 minutes every night. Even maybe it's while you're watching TV. Maybe it's when you're coming down from your nighttime routine. But it is so important to take this time to just set a game plan. Plan for success. We've said it before, but you need to start small. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither are your goals. Often the biggest obstacle to success is the belief that you must do everything all at once. But greatness is achieved through incremental progress. Break your goals into manageable tasks. Focus on taking one small step at a time. Before you know it, those small steps are going to add up to significant strides. I just read a really great book by Cal Newport. He wrote the book Deep Work, but he also just came out with a book called Slow Productivity. And in this book, he argued that while you may seem like you're slowing down by focusing on one thing at a time and just trying to chip away at that thing day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, trying to chip away. But he argues that some of the most famous and some of the most incredible, smart people in the world, people that have invented things, people that have came up with beautiful pieces of artwork or books, they have dedicated the time to slow down and start small and chip away consistently. So maybe you're thinking you need to go 100 miles an hour and you need to do everything all at once, but Rome wasn't built in a day. You must make sure that you take a second to focus on taking one small step at a time. And look after yourself in this process. Your mind and your body are your greatest assets. Treat them with the care and respect that they deserve. Nurture your physical health through exercise, nutrition, and rest. Prioritize your mental well-being through things like mindfulness, self-compassion, nature, stress management skills, things like breath work. Remember, self-care isn't selfish. It's essential for your sustainable success. As you're chipping away at all these goals, give yourself some grace. This is a hard thing that you're doing, and you are crushing it. Once you look after yourself, then you have to make sure you hold yourself accountable. So yes, it's really important that you prioritize your mental well-being, that you nurture your physical health, but it's also important that you hold yourself accountable. You are the captain of your ship, the master of your fate. You are the CEO of your own health. Take ownership of your actions and their consequences. Set high standards for yourself and hold yourself to them. Create systems of accountability to keep yourself on track. Maybe you need to gamify your discipline. This is something that we did. We did an episode on this maybe last year, but I got a really cool idea from Rob Dyrdek, who, if you haven't seen the show Ridiculousness, which is a really, really funny show on MTV. He also had the show Rob and Big, which was incredible. Rob Dyrdek is a beast in the business world, and he talked about gamifying discipline. And I've done the same thing for the last, I don't know, I think it's probably been about 2 or 2.5 years now. I have an Excel spreadsheet where I have all the tasks that I want to get done in a day. I'm talking everything. I have exercise, what kind of exercise, broken down into different categories, whether it's muscle mass gain or cardiovascular endurance or mobility or active recovery, or I have self-care. So things like massage, things like nighttime routine, things like my healthy foods that I want to eat every single day, my blueberries, my kiwis, my dark chocolate. I have things on my list like get uncomfortable. Can I get uncomfortable every single day in some way? On this Excel spreadsheet, there's 60 things that I've been tracking for the past two plus years. And now I've gamified it where every month I can see what percentage of the days that I've done each task. And I can look back at the end of February and I can say, how did my February measure up to January? And then at the end of the year, I can look and I can see, how did my 2024 measure up to my 2023? And this is a way for me to push myself. I'm very competitive with myself. So when I see that I did worse the next month, this is my focus now to make sure that I don't do it two months in a row. So maybe you need to gamify your discipline in order to hold yourself accountable. I definitely recommend going back and listening to that episode. If you can't find it, let me know. I can send you a link to it directly. You can also, maybe it's journaling, whether you're journaling your progress or you're setting deadlines and you're staying true to those deadlines. Some people, they thrive on deadlines. They don't actually work well until they're under the pressure of a deadline. And maybe that's you. You have to know yourself. Or maybe you seek support from a mentor, somebody that's done what you're trying to do and has done it very well. Accountability breeds excellence. You are the CEO of your health. Hold yourself accountable. And I don't know how many times we can say it, but consistency is key. Success is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's about showing up day in and day out, rain or shine, and knowing that there will be setbacks, obstacles, and moments of doubt, but it's how you respond to these challenges that define your journey. If you stay the course, even when the road ahead seems daunting, you will find success. Remember, every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goal. Set those meaningful goals, those goals that have this huge, deeper why that inspire you, and break them down into actionable steps. Cultivate habits that support your journey. And remember, discipline is not a destination. Discipline, it's a lifelong journey of growth and self-discovery that you constantly have to strengthen and reinforce and practice. Let's address a common struggle many of us face: maintaining motivation for our workout routines. It's easy to do it when we're motivated, when we're all gung-ho, when it's the first of the year, the first day of the week, and we are ready to go. We've been waiting for 3 months to really start this thing off, and we are motivated. It's easy when you have it. People often find it easy to start, but they really struggle to stay consistent. Discipline over motivation. Discipline over motivation. That is the key here. Instead of relying solely on fleeting motivation, you have to cultivate discipline to stick to your workout routine, even when motivation wanes. If you study people who are at the pinnacle of anything, at the top of their game, you recognize that to get there, motivation was maybe 1% of the formula. Maybe 1%, and I can prove it to you. Let's say if you want to become a world-class bodybuilder, let's say you want to be pro at bodybuilding, what it takes is you have to train twice a day, 6 days a week, and you have to have 8 meals every day that are tracked. Your calorie intake is regimented. Your meals are pre-planned and pre-cooked. when you're a bodybuilder, you don't eat according to taste. You eat according to function. A famous bodybuilder that I follow, for instance, he will eat chicken that is boiled without salt. Have you ever ate a boiled chicken breast without salt? And he'll have over a pound of this chicken. And some might ask him, like, what are you doing? That is so plain. He's like, I'm taking in protein. He's not saying I'm eating protein. He's saying I'm taking in protein, because for him, it's functional. It's fuel. It's building blocks. It's not taste-based or pleasure-based. Then you will also probably have to train for a minimum, and this is if you have great genetics, a minimum of 10 years before you can get on stage and compete at an average level with average worldwide bodybuilders. I'm talking 10 years minimum just to be average. We're not talking the best of the best. We're talking average. Okay, so why am I saying this? Well, many of us here are at the beginning of, let's say, here in the new year, if you're listening to this live, and you're writing these things called New Year's resolutions. And by now, 80+% of people have fallen off of their resolutions. Maybe you want to get in shape. Maybe you want to make money. But if your resolution is to get in shape, what do? You go to the gym, you get a gym membership, you buy all your new gear, you're all motivated and you're inspired and you're going to this dang gym. You might even decide that you're going to go 5, 6, 7 days a week. You go to YouTube and you subscribe to all the fitness channels and you follow the workouts, and you go to Instagram and you follow all the fitness models that motivate you. You are motivated. You're going to the gym and you're going to get in shape. That's what you're going to do. Well, guess what? The people that you're following on YouTube, they have been working on what they've been working on probably for a minimum of 5 years just to look the way that they look. So you already have this incorrect understanding that after a month or so of working out, you're going to maybe look like them. So what happens in the first month? You're excited, you're motivated, but then you experience some pain in your body. You get really sore, and maybe you're not as excited to go to the gym anymore, but you're still motivated. You want to get in shape. But then life happens. Work gets busy, you get sick, you take a trip, something happens, and all of a sudden you stop going to the gym for a day. And that day then becomes 2 days. And then 2 becomes a week. And now all of a sudden you've had a gym membership for 3 months and you haven't used it in 3 months. What did you miss? The problem is you thought motivation was the formula. Winners don't need motivation. Winners need discipline. Discipline is about getting it done because it needs to get done, not because I feel like it and not because I'm motivated for it or I'm no longer motivated for it. You think the people that changed the world, they were always motivated to do what they wanted to do. You think Nelson Mandela was motivated to spend 27 years in prison, or Martin Luther King was motivated to march across the states to proclaim freedom. If you look at people who changed the world, they're not doing things because they're motivated to do them. They have this bigger why. They're doing these things because they made a commitment to do them, and they stayed disciplined to see it through. Discipline is far more important than motivation, which is why you have to be careful with the decisions that you make, because once you make the decision, you have to see that decision through. You have to build that self-confidence. We make the decisions, and then the decisions that we make us. Let me say that again. We make the decisions, but then the decisions that we make us. It's so important to be very careful with the decisions that you make. Be very careful of the commitments that you make. Motivation, I'm telling you right now, is completely overrated. It's important, yes, at times. Don't get me wrong. And when you have motivation, man, does that feel good. And yes, should you really use it when you have it? Almost like a turbo booster in your car. Like, yeah, it'd be great to have that turbo booster on all the time, but what is your car going to do if you have 100% balls to the wall, you're going after it, turbo style 24/7? It's not going to be good. It's important at times, but that will fade. And you will need a stronger will. You will need a stronger and deeper commitment. And you need to have that big, strong, deep why backing you so that you can see all these things through. So here are 5 strategies to ignite your discipline and maintain consistency. Number 1, break it down. Instead of committing to long workout sessions a few days a week, consider breaking it down into smaller, more manageable chunks. In fact, if you could do 15 minutes of work every single day, you will probably see way better benefits than if you did an hour workout twice a week. Just 15 minutes a day. Whether it's a quick walk, whether you're incorporating short bursts of activity into your day somehow, in between all of your busy work, maybe it's a set of push-ups every hour or a yoga stretch in the morning and at night. Every little bit adds up. Number 2, home workouts. If getting to the gym feels like a daunting task, consider working out at home. There are countless online free resources offering guided workouts that require minimal equipment. Find what works for you and make your home a personal fitness sanctuary. Will these workouts get you to the pinnacle of fitness? Will they help you get to a bodybuilding show type physique? Will they correctly, progressively overload you like a good workout program should, like if you were to go to a personal trainer? No, none of these things, but it will work. It doesn't have to be perfect as long as it's consistent. And these home workouts could be good enough. If you want to get to the next level, yes, it's probably important that you train with someone that can help progressively overload you correctly with a good workout program. But we're talking just bare bones minimum right here. To reignite your discipline, it's much better to do a home workout with a subpar program than to take the time to get ready for your workout, drive to the gym, try to figure out what you want to do, see if you can navigate through the busy times in the workout. You're waiting for your equipment. Now you have to get back in your car. Now there's traffic and you have to drive home. Like all these things are barriers, and we want to remove as many barriers as possible. If you do a home workout, it's right there. So number 2, home workouts. Number 3, just do what feels good and do what is fun. Exercise should be enjoyable. It shouldn't be a chore. And moving your body can mean so many things to so many different people. Find activities that actually bring you joy and make you feel good. Whether it's dancing, whether it's going hiking outside, whether it's swimming or playing a sport, pickleball. Choose activities that resonate with you and keep you coming back for more. And do it with a support system to just amplify the benefits of doing what feels good. There is something out there that can get you to move your body, that can get you into all different ranges of motion and do what I call working on your movement snacks, getting all of your movement nutrition. And there's ways to do it that are fun. You don't have to do something that you regret and that you dread all day long. Like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. I have to go to this class, or I have to do this 10-mile run, or whatever the case may be. Do something that feels good and that is enjoyable and that you look forward to. Number 4, it's important that you adjust your expectations. Adjust your expectations. Most people, they underestimate what they can do in a year, and they overestimate what they can do in a month. Sometimes our lack of motivation stems from unrealistic expectations. So instead of focusing solely on things like weight loss or muscle gain, maybe shift your focus to how exercise makes you feel. Celebrate the improvements in your strength. Really celebrate getting stronger. Celebrate your improvements in your endurance or your overall well-being. Is your goal to lose weight? Okay, well then you need to eat in a calorie deficit. But instead of focusing your expectations on the calorie deficit, maybe instead of tracking, you decide that you could try to just eat only whole foods, whole natural foods that have one ingredient. Cut out all the ultra-processed foods. And then maybe you could also practice mindful eating, no eating while distracted. Instead of tracking your calories day after day, something that you really, that takes a high expectation, that takes a lot of discipline. Instead of tracking every single morsel of food, maybe you just try to adjust your expectation and You eat only whole foods and you cut out all processed foods and you practice mindful eating. No eating while distracted in front of a screen. If you make those two decisions, I can almost guarantee you that your calories will cut. And if you're consistent over time, that means that body fat will come off if that's your goal. Adjust your expectations. And number 5, this one's kind of a double-edged sword. Seek inspiration. Surround yourself with others, with content that inspires and motivates you. Motivation is fleeting, but when you have a support system that helps motivate you day after day, it's that extra little turbo boost that does help. Follow people who are doing this well. A really good example of this is someone that I like to follow is a guy named Mark Sisson. Mark Sisson is a 70-year-old badass. He is out there playing ultimate frisbee with 20-year-olds. He's jumping, running, sprinting. He walks the walk. He talks the talk. Follow that kind of person and listen to what they have to say. Follow people that are doing it right and listen to their podcasts. Read their books. Watch videos that align with your goals. Surrounding yourself with this positive influence can reignite your passion for fitness or whatever goal that you have and help keep you on track. It gives you a framework. Why reinvent the wheel? Stand on the shoulder of giants who have done this before you and see if what they have done can work for you. It reinforces good behaviors and it gives you other ideas that you may not have thought of. So 5 things that can help reignite your discipline and maintain consistency. Break down your goals into smaller chunks. Do home workouts or make your environment set up for it to be impossible for you not to do whatever your goal is. Do what feels good. Make it enjoyable, not a chore. Adjust your expectations. Instead of focusing solely on one metric, maybe the weight on a scale, maybe you adjust your expectations and focus on other things like cutting out processed foods and practicing mindful eating. Seek inspiration. Surround yourself with content that inspires and motivate you. Remember, success is not determined by the size of your dreams. Success is determined by the consistency of your efforts. If you want to have a different life than you have now, most likely you're going to have to change something that you're currently doing in your life right now. If you want a different life, you most likely have to change something that you're currently doing. In order for you to get a different result, you need to put a different input into the equation. Your actions of today will lead to the actions of tomorrow. Your day-to-day actions will accumulate into the actions of the week, into the months, and into the years. It doesn't have to be more effort, more time, but it does have to be different to get a different result. You don't have to do more of what you're doing. You just have to do something different to get a different result. And you can do this. You are the CEO of your health. What gets tracked, what gets measured, gets managed. Use some of the things in this podcast today to help get you there. Do your best to not let motivation drive everything you do. Really tune into how can I be as disciplined as possible and as consistent as possible. And you can. And that's it, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me on this Mindset Monday episode of the Livin the Dream podcast. Please share the knowledge that you gain with your friends and family and hold each other accountable. If you enjoyed this content, it does help a ton if you could post on your social media stories a screenshot of this episode and to make sure that you include one takeaway that you learned and tag me to share your journey. Tag me at livingthedream_podcast or at Coach Damien_SD and let us know how this episode benefited you. Let us know what we missed. Let us know what we got wrong. Tell us how you have mastered your discipline and unleashed your inner drive. We want to know. Message us if you have any suggestions or tips that would help your Livin the Dream team that we could discuss on future episodes. I'll be right here with you, working on making us stronger, happier, and healthier humans. Until next time, friends, keep living the dream.